Hello one and all, this is Hybridsteel. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. Today we're going to be talking about the worst to best weapons that you can use in Dauntless. Now, we all know that Dauntless has only been out for a little while now and people are sort of like having problems with issues and so on and so forth. But they are fixing this, and that's just one big thing that they're going through at the moment because it's cross-platform. Please be patient. But this video is just basically going to be my take from the worst to the best weapons you can use in Dauntless. So, number 5, the worst weapon you can use in Dauntless is the Pike. Okay, so not basically saying that it is like it's a horrible weapon, but when it comes to the actual output for this weapon, it's not the greatest. I mean, first off, let's go over what the Pike actually is. It's a spear, and it has a unique wound mechanic. Now, basically, as you're going through your combination, you're seeing like the yellow and the green numbers flying off of different parts of the behemoth. The worst part about this is because it takes so long to get through the combination of the Pike itself, by the time you get to the main actual damage that you're supposed to cause and inflict and actually wound the animal, is that it's taken a very long time to get there. Now, if you consider this if you play with the hammer or you play with the swords, that damage mechanic has already got to the point where it's going to be hitting the highest, and with the Pike, because it takes so long to get there, it's literally going to take you a little bit longer to actually cause more damage. Now, the worst part about the Pike is that when you actually inflict a wound to a behemoth, it only does up to about 25% more damage with the pike itself. But when you're actually using other weaponry, it can be up to 50% more than what the Pike's actually outputting. So it's almost best to, I mean, you can use the Pike if you like. This is just one man's sort of like opinion on it. But I've played with every single one of these weapons, and I found that the Pike, albeit a very quick weapon, it still has this issue where it wasn't inflicting as much damage to start with as other weapons. Number 4 is the chain blades. Okay, the reason why the chain blades are at number 4 and not number 5 is because they are just genuinely used for a very, very quick weapon. They are the fastest weapon in Dauntless, but they do the least amount of damage. I mean, because they're the smallest and fastest, they're more like a ninja weapon. You've got a couple of moves where you're able to get out of fights quicker and get into a fight quick. It's like being a ninja. The reason why I've put this at number 4 and not at like the bottom is basically because the weapon itself, if you're going for a quicker build and you're going for a quicker fighting style, this weapon is actually ideal. The things that I'm not a big fan of is the fact it doesn't do a lot of massive damage. So when you're getting into a fight with a behemoth and you've got someone who's next to you with a sword, they're going to be outputting a lot more damage than you are by just sort of bashing away continuously. The other reason why I'm putting this in at number 4 is because the special ability itself isn't massively powerful. I mean, yes, okay, it's got the ability of like making it a slightly longer range attack, but the worst part is that it's still damage output. All the while that the chain blades don't do as much damage as the spear, they're a bit more usable. And to be fair, if you're a brand new person to this game and you want to play with something quick and easy and you want to get in and out of a fight quicker, the chain blade is a good way to actually get through. It's also a really good way to create a bit of distance between you and the behemoth using the ability of like trying to jump backwards quicker. When you're actually evading a behemoth in this and you push dodge, unlike all the other weapons which when you push dodge you just roll out the way and you're happy, with this you push dodge and you're flying out there. Literally, it's so fast, it's like being a ninja. Now, the plus side to the chain blades is they are very fast but very fun to use. I mean, it just feels like you're playing as Eddie Gordo on Tekken. You just jab the buttons a couple of times, it just looks really cool, but there's absolutely no skill behind it at all. One of the more fun weapons to actually use, yes, but when it comes to practicality, the chain blade just doesn't really do it for me. But, as said, heap of fun. Get out there and give this one a go. Number 3 is the hammer. Now, the hammer is genuinely quite a slow weapon, and it does take a little bit of speed to ramp up, but the plus side is you're doing a lot of damage outputting very quickly. So with the incarnation of the hammer that you're seeing on the screen right now, it's got the ability of being able to speed itself up or use it as a gun. Now, using it as a gun isn't exactly the most powerful things, but if you're halfway through a combo and you hit the gun button, you're actually forcing the hammer faster forward, so you're doing a little bit more of a quicker and harder damage. The downside to using the hammer is it doesn't actually cut an enemy. So unlike all the other weapons where you have a bladed edge, with the hammer it's a blunt edge, so you're not going to be able to cut, which means you can't wound an enemy, but you can sort of knock around some damage. Number 2. Now, as soon as I say number 2, you guys are going to know which one number 1 is. because number one isn't the guns, because the guns technically aren't one of the main weapons you can play with this game. Number two is the axe, and the reason why the axe, even though it is slow, it does inflict a huge amount of damage, and if you can land a proper combo with the axe, then it's all good. Now, aside from the damage that the axe actually does, it can cause more staggering effects. Now, when it comes to staggering, there are challenges to actually put staggering in, but if you're fighting as a big group and you've got an axe user, if you can hit a couple of staggers with an axe, then your group can get on top of that behemoth quicker. It basically means you've got somebody who can take a bit more of the pounding like a juggernaut, but as soon as the axe hits, then you've got the ability to get in there and stagger the enemy, bringing your group in a little bit faster to take out more of the actual plated areas that this enemy is going to have. Now, the reason why the axe isn't at number one, but that just comes down to weapon speed alone. It does take a little bit of skill to actually use this weapon, because if you're going to hit every single time, you're going to have to know when the behemoth is going to stop in front of you. You're going to have to know when it's good to trigger your attacks. Also, when it comes to your special attacks, you don't want to miss those because it uses up your stamina. So that's why it's at number two and not number one. And it comes down to just pure skill level. If you're good with the axe and you're good with slow weaponry and you can time things properly, this weapon would be ideal for you. But when it comes down to the actual skill of most people who are going to play this, you're going to be using different weaponry because one, oh, it's my favourite, or two, it doesn't take a lot of skill to actually use. So this brings us to number one, the sword. The reason why the sword is at number one is because this weapon is usable for every single person who plays this game. From new people all the way up to experienced people, the sword works so easily and its combos are ridiculously easy to pull off. This is just an accessible weapon to everybody. When it comes to actually using the sword, it does a medium amount of damage, it doesn't use a lot of the skill level, and is probably for me one of the best weapons that you can play within Dauntless. The reason why is just because how simple it actually is, and the damage that comes off of it isn't too bad. Now, if you've got a couple of other people who are set out in their ways of being sword users or whatever weapon they wish to be using, the sword again comes down to its strengths. The reason why is because it's quick. If you've got more people using a sword within a fight, then you're able to have a lot more damage being consistently out there instead of just waiting for somebody to try and hit. If you find yourself in a group of people who are all using swords though, it might be best to actually change it up to be to something else. And the reason why I say this is because, I mean, if everybody's using a sword, you've got no real massive way of actually staggering the enemy. I mean, you do get your big move that does stagger, but if you're using like 3 people on swords, why don't you be the axe person? Because with the axe you can upgrade your skill for using it and you can stagger the enemy, which means your group will get on top of this fight. So thank you very much for joining me in this video. This has been Hybridsteel. If this video has helped you at all, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and notifications button below for all other updates that I'll be putting onto this channel. Thank you very much for joining me, and until the next video, live stream or whatever else I do on this channel, peace out, have fun and enjoy everything you guys do. Bye bye.